Hey guys, I'm Darren Smart. This is Smart Reselling, and today's sales update is purely based on my Warhammer sales. I'm going to run through everything that I've sold, well, not necessarily just Warhammer, but miniatures in general. I had obviously mostly Games Workshop Warhammer stuff, but also non-Warhammer stuff. Warzone, for example, was another one I had. So anyway, these are all of those sales. Now this one goes back to, I can't remember when I sold this one. Yeah, I really can't remember when I sold this one, but it goes back from earliest date first up to most recent. So first of all, we have these Warhammer Valhallan Ice Warriors Heavy Weapons Imperial Guard, and they are the heavy weapons mortar points. And there was 3 of them, really well painted on stands that had been made into like an environment, so a bit of sand there and rocks and stuff like that, and it looks really good. And I sold those for $24.99. They were, I believe, my first sale based on all this Warhammer stuff that came in. So I was very pleased, and I was excited at going through the rest, thinking, well, if I can get £24 for 3 pieces, and I've got thousands, then it's going to be really good. So $24.99 for those. Really nice, as I say, really nice condition. A bit worn in places. I mean, you can see just on the hat there, it maybe needed to be repainted, but I think it adds like a weathered look to it, which I quite like. So that was that one. Next up was this. This was a sealed Warhammer Cadian Lieutenant. In fact, two lieutenants from the Imperial Guard. A bit of a torn label, unfortunately, but I got £19.99 for those, so I was really quite pleased with that sale. This one wasn't Warhammer, this was Warzone. These ones I was quite surprised about. I didn't know much about them. I did look them up, and you know, individual you probably would have got a bit more money for them, but some of them were very loosely glued, and I didn't want to glue them myself because, you know, some collectors are very picky with what type of glue and stuff that people use. So you know, these ones in the end went for $29.99, and although I got $1.99 shipping on it, the guy paid, I think it was £12 shipping because it was going international. So that was via GSP. What he paid me was $1.99 to get him to Derby, which is where I send my GSP stuff. So I was quite happy with that. As I say, it was still early days. It was within a day or two of me getting the haul. So I just wanted to bring in some cash, some funds from the haul. This one's pretty cool. This is a Foundry Motorcycle Patrol Group. I've actually sold 4 or 5 different ones of these. One was a private sale, and these ones were on eBay. Motorcycle Patrol Group, World War II miniatures. Really nice. I mean, they're all metal, these ones. Metal ones do better. And this one was a tenner. So £10 just for one sealed pack was pretty decent. This one was pretty cool. This is a Warhammer Commissar with sword. And it's from the Imperial Guard Astra Militarum. For those who don't know, Astra Militarum is the name that these units go by now. They used to go by Imperial Guard back in like mid-80s, 90s. Then they changed their name. But they're basically the same miniature, the same figure. So this one was pretty decent, painted to a good standard. And yeah, £9.99 for him as well. I tend to price my miniatures at $9.99. But bear in mind, I do look up every single thing I sell on eBay before listing it. Even if I don't know about them, I would rather have a box of valuable stuff sitting there until I find out how much something's worth, rather than list it and risk underselling it by too much. So that's what I do with these. So £9.99. This one, Warhammer Classic Necromunda Rulebook. £9.99. It was in okay condition. I mean, it did have some pages loose and stuff, but yeah, not pages loose. Sorry, some wear and tear and creasing. And £9.99 for that. I was quite happy with that. This is another Valhallan Ice Warriors group. These were all plastic figures, not metal, and $29.99 for those. So that was pretty good. This was just the Boar Boys. This is from the Warhammer Boar Boys pack. incomplete. Unfortunately, it was missing a bore. It was missing the riders. And maybe a bore, I'm not sure. But yeah, in the end, I think I actually took £9.99 for these because they were incomplete, and I was just happy to sell them on, really, as they were just in the bottom of a box. This was pretty decent. This is Operation Dreadnought cannon. This isn't from my recent Warhammer and miniatures haul. This is way back that I found a bag of Warhammer stuff in a charity shop for £29.99. I've made hundreds on that already. So selling one of these for £9.99, and it is tiny. It's a tiny, tiny gun. The pictures don't really do it justice, but I mean, this is, for example, a charge pack for my Xbox controller. Okay, so there's my Xbox controller that I use to play PC games. It was smaller than this, and this is only that goes in the back of that. So it gives you some example of scale. But yeah, it was really tiny. To get £10 for that, I was amazed. This one was, I believe it was incomplete. Actually, no, I don't think it. No, actually, no, it may not have been. £24.99. The average selling price on eBay for this was between 25 and 30. So I was happy to get £24.99. So next up we have the Warhammer Primaris Psyker. This is once again from the Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum regiment or army. £14.99 I got for this guy, and this is a good example of what I was saying before about I sell most of them for £9.99 because that seems to be a nice selling price for these things for one metal painted figure. But obviously it does depend. I check every single piece that I buy, just in case. I do have a rare one, and I do have some on there for over £20 because they are a bit different or a bit more rarer. This one, £14.99, I got for this guy. This was pretty decent. The pictures weren't great, I must admit. I could have probably taken better pictures. This one here, for example, it kept focusing on the staff rather than him, but I think actually this one's pretty decent. But yes, that was good. £14.99. This was just a bundle of Arkham Horror, a Call of Cthulhu. I think it's pronounced. I'm not sure. And they were just rule books for expansions and stuff. I don't actually have the game. I just had these. There was none on eBay. I figured I could try and get £5 or £10 each for them, but I thought, you know what? Let's just bundle them up, get them out of the way. Because I don't have the game anyway, and I don't really plan on buying the game without these, or the games, I should say, because this is for multiple expansions. I got £10.50 for a few sheets of paper, really. So I was very happy with that. This one was a really, really good book sale. This is a Warhammer Dark Heresy Ascension, and it's the role-playing guide. Very, very thick book. You can't really see that from the photo. I didn't take a picture of the spine, but really, really good book, and I got £39.99 for that. So that was a very, very good sale. I worked out that I paid roughly £25 per box that I picked up at auction. And in these boxes are obviously multiple items. So, for example, this was out of just one box, and that was a box of books. And this box of books for me will be over £500 return. So, well, in fact, actually, it's more because I didn't realise I had two boxes of books. So, really, £50 worth of my money just went on books, and there's about £800 worth of books. So, for me, it was a no-brainer selling even this for £39.99. You can imagine how happy I was, where it paid for almost 2 boxes of books on its own, before fees, of course. So yeah, £39.99, very, very good. Next up was this, and with the plastic armies, okay, now and again there are some metal ones that get thrown in, but usually it's if they're incomplete or if they're damaged in some way. I'll at least throw in the bits and the pieces. I don't think I actually showed the bits and pieces in this picture. I didn't actually, no. But there was a bag of bits with this as well. And this sold for £92.50 at auction. I was very happy with that. Once again, if I had stuck it up for 160, 170, and maybe just left it, it may have sold within a few months. but it would have gone on offer. It wouldn't have gone for that price. So I figured, why wait 3 or 4 months to sell it for 120 or 130, which probably would have been the offer, when I can just throw it up at auction and get almost £100 now. It just makes sense to me. You know, I'm in this business to find cool stuff and then sell it on. I'm not a hoarder. I don't want it back. I don't want it piling up or backing up. I want it shifted, but I want it shifted for great returns, and that's what I'm getting on these, and that's why I've done this. So £92.50. This one went for £54, and just £54. There was 11 bids. It looks like a pretty decent sized army, but that was the only metal part. All the rest were plastic. And, you know, once again, I could have listed them all individually, or at least in the same group. There's a few that are the same figure and painted the same way, which I could have done as a quantity listing. But this was the only metal piece. And this I probably could have got maybe, I don't know, £10 to £12 alone for. And the rest would have been £5 to maybe £10 on a good day figures, or miniatures. But, you know, once again, you would have been sitting there for so long trying to sell these things. So I just threw them up at auction. It came from one box, and this was only a quarter of one box. So a quarter of a £25 box. And I would double what the entire box cost. So it was a no-brainer for me, really. So that was £54. This one did go quite low, I must admit, but to be honest, it was hard to price this one because it was actually a custom game that the guy made. And when I say the guy, sorry, the guy who I bought these from, who I actually managed to find through a website that he'd created using all of this stuff to show off armies and to show off mini tabletop wars and stuff. And I actually managed to find this guy, which I was quite impressed with, just through pure luck, looking for some of this stuff. And he basically made this game himself. And there was some Warhammer stuff, some non-Warhammer stuff. There was, you know, just loads and loads in there. So it was very hard to price. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to shove it up at auction. And it got £29.99, which is a bit low. That one definitely is a bit low. But once again, it paid for an entire box. And this was, you know, maybe half of a box. It paid for all of it. So I don't really mind that too much, especially if you don't know what you've got and you still make money on it. Then that's great. This was Adeptus Mechanicus Army, £51.98 in auction. Once again, in fact, these parts here that I'm circling, I think those as well. I think those two, maybe not, but definitely those. That's actually the Adeptus Mechanicus Army. All of these bits, although they look really cool, were actually non-Warhammer parts. They were just custom, cheap Chinese plastic parts that the guy who auctioned all this stuff off, he actually painted it to match the Warhammer army. And that's kind of frowned upon quite a lot in the Warhammer community. You know, it has to be original or original. That's it. It's got to be original only. These don't count if it's in your army. So to still get £51.98 from someone who obviously didn't mind that there was a few custom parts. And these, I can't remember, I think Robotech is the company that these parts were from, or Robo Gear, maybe. I think actually Robo Gear, not Tech, Robo Gear. That these were, excuse me, these were purchased from. And these are just two very, very cheap Chinese plastic toys that the guy modified. So to still get over 50 quid, which, you know, once again, paid for 2 boxes, and this wasn't even half of one of those boxes. It paid for 2 of them. So I was really, really pleased with that. Next up, we have these, which were non-Warhammer. These are just very, very small miniature tanks. And they're absolutely tiny, tiny tanks. And for those of you that obviously know, well, for those of you that crop and edit your pictures on eBay when you upload, and you click crop, and you know that original small square that eBay gives you before you resize it. that original small square was was this picture here. So you could fit 3 of those tanks in that very tiny small square that eBay show you when you click crop. That's how small these were. And I got 20 quid. Actually, no. I think I may have accepted 15 on these, not 20. I think I took 15. And I was happy with that. You know, I probably could have done smaller bundles, maybe bundles of 3 or 4, something for £5 here and there. But once again, I don't want to sit on these things for months. That's not why I bought them. I bought them to sell. So £15 for those. I'm happy with that, considering I couldn't find them. They're non-Warhammer, so that they had no brand name attached to them. So I was happy with that. And of course, they just went raw mail, so that was cool. This was a good one. $14.99 Vampire Wars Gothic Horror Set GHS1 Pumpkinhead Killer Scarecrows. And these were still sealed. They're metal. $14.99 I got for them, which I was quite pleased of. This is Battle Masters board game. It was unpunched, unused, as you can see. All of it was completely unused. There was a few that were off the sprues, but it was still unused. It's just where it had been a bit of weight on it and it had come loose. And the cards, I think I took a picture of the cards. It's in one of these pictures. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Yeah, the cards were actually still sealed as well. And so were the dice. I got £74. No, actually, sorry, I took an offer on that of $64.99, I think. So yeah, $64.99 I got for that, which was pretty decent. What else? This was a good one. This was a Games Workshop Battlefleet Gothic Retribution class battleship. But this was metal, and the metal ones are the ones that are worth money. The plastic ones, not so much, unless it's a rare plastic one. But this was all metal. I've actually got 2 of these, and I sold it for £44.99. And as I say, I've still got 1 more to sell on those. So yeah, really, really pleased with that. And this was, you know, one of the ones that I took out of a big Battlefleet Gothic bundle, which I left the stuff in the bundle that weren't worth that much, and I took out the good stuff, and I was selling that separately. And this was one of the main ones that has gone. This was really good. Starship Troopers miniatures bundle, and this was basically everything you see there minus my Samsung printer that you can just see in the corner. But everything else that you see on the table. This was a hard one to price. I had it appraised in a few groups, and you know, they said between sort of 150 and 250. But I thought it's got to be worth more than that. I think £400, considering that this was 2 boxes worth. Okay, this Starship Trooper stuff took up 2 boxes, so this would have been £50 I spent on this, and I didn't sell it for £399. I accepted an offer of 340 quid. So from 50 quid to 340, I will take that all day long, and I'm very, very happy with that. Yeah, very happy, considering that I actually posted this in a few wargaming Facebook groups, and I was offered £75 to £100, and I thought that was okay, to be honest, because I didn't know much about Starship Troopers game. I mean, you know, I've done my research on it in terms of about the game, and it was only available for 2 years between 2005 and 2007, so it's pretty rare. But at the same time, it's not complete. There are non Starship Troopers parts. For example, these 3 parts at the top are actually non-Starship Troopers. Just the guy who made this game, and I think also they are non-Starship Troopers as well. But the guy who purchased this game, he just also bought bits that he thought would look good also in this game. So these bits here, for example, aren't Starship Troopers. That's the one of the mother bugs or something they call it. Can't remember the name. But yeah, so that's pretty decent. 340 quid I took for that. Next up is Warhammer 40k Space Orcs Gretchen Goblins Hero Quest. Once again, this was from the old bundle that I picked up in a charity shop, and it was just odds and sods, really, just bits and pieces. And I finally sold it for 20 quid, which I'm happy with. This one I didn't take £49.99. I accepted an offer of £35 on this one. This was a brand new and sealed Bragg the Gutsman. Now this is actually still for sale on the Warhammer site, but it's been renamed. This was the original box before the renaming. The renamed one you can actually buy for £9. But because this was original markings, you can get 35. Well, you can get 49.99, but I took 35 on it because, to be honest, it was so small and it was just found in the bottom of a box. And the fact that it paid for an entire box and a half of all the other stuff I've got, it was a no-brainer for me. This one was pretty good. This is a Warhammer Space Crusade Space Crusade Marine and Space Hulk Army Collection. Once again, there are some non-official parts in there. Not official, but non-Warhammer, I should say. But they're all pretty good. There are some, you got parts like these in there, and you got this. I don't know what that guy is, and yeah, they're pretty good. There's a lot of them. They're finished, unfinished, painted, unpainted. Loads in there, and I got £181 for that. So I was very, very pleased with how that auction ended. 19 bids. There was actually only 4 people who were bidding for it, but they really, they put in an effort into winning this, so I was quite happy with that. This is a Games Workshop Battlefleet Gothic Fleet. I got 150 quid for that. Painted, unpainted, metal and plastic. Now, there was an issue with this. Now, as you know, I took out the best parts to sell on their own. You've got various ships in here. You've got some Chaos Destroyer. You've got Chaos there. You've got a Battle Barge, incomplete Battle Barge metal one there, which for those parts you can get about £8 to £10. That would come up about a £5 because it's incomplete. These are the Eldar Corsairs, I believe they're called, or Cruisers, I can't remember. But unfortunately, as you can see, there was bits missing. There were a few bits in there, but it was also damaged. These ones are pretty cool. These are Retribution class destroyers. Retribution class battleships. That's probably the most value there. It's about 40 quid, £45 in those. You can get about 30 quid for 3 or 4 of them. So yeah, maybe about 50 actually in those. And although these little ones here are metal, which can't actually remember the name of them now. I did look them up. Yeah, Cobra. There you go. Cobra destroyers. And yeah, so the smaller ones here were metal. These were actually plastic. They look metal, but they're plastic. So yeah, so I checked up every single part of these as fleets. Now, I didn't have an entire fleet. If you got an entire fleet, you can get good money for those. But as fleets, as individuals, and you're looking at about 170 to 190 quid on a good day, individual. Now that's obviously before fees. So for me to bundle these up and get 150, I would take that. I've had them appraised in Warhammer groups and Wargaming groups, and they were roughly on the mark as well. They said between, some of them said 100 quid, but between 100 and 120. So I took 150 for these. No, well, I didn't take. I got 150 for these. And I'm happy with that. Very, very happy. These would have cost me £12, I worked out. That's what it cost me in the grand sort of box pricing bundle that I do. £12. So I've turned £12 into 150 quid. I posted it in the group. A lot of people saying really great. Some people saying I undersold. I really don't think I did. I've priced all these up. 170, 180 on a good day. I'll take 150 now quite easily. The metal ones do sell for really, really good, but none of the big ships were metal. These were plastic. And also there was a few issues here. It's this one here, this one here, and these 3. Although they look pretty cool, 1, they're plastic, and 2, they're also they've been extended. They're not the normal ships. For example, these are actually kind of this, but changed up a bit. It's the same kind of ship. I mean, so the problem with them is because they've been extended. I actually had a guy message me and said I would love this lot, but because they are custom, because someone has stretched them and changed them, he just can't buy them because they're not original anymore. So although they're good ships, if they haven't been tampered with, they have been. So the value of those are nowhere near what you would normally get from. So yeah, so I'm happy with that. So as I say, £150 for me, spot on the money. And next up, this is the last sale I had. This one was a bit of an awkward one because it's metal, but these two bits here and these two bits here are plastic. So it was a mixture of both. I actually took an offer of $29.99, so not $39.99, $29.99 on this, purely because of the fact that it was a mixture of metal and plastic, and it was missing some bits, and it didn't have a very good glue job on it. So someone is really going to have to strip that down, maybe take the paint off, and then remake it. So as they have to put a lot of work into it, I was happy to accept a $5 or less. So, also this one, which I'm actually just adding to the end of the video because I realised I actually forgot to show it to you during the making of it. This is another auction that sold, which was Warhammer the Elder Army. And this one here, it had a few bits to it. There were some bits that weren't meant to be with the Elder Army. This guy here was quite a nice piece. He was worth about £20 alone. Unfortunately, there was only feet of the other one. It was quite a small army, but they're all plastic, apart from this guy, which is metal. And I threw him in, this guy here, just because he made a difference. You know, he was a selling point. So this guy here was worth about 20 on his own. This guy sort of 10. But all the rest were just very generic plastic soldiers, which, you know, yeah, you could have got £5 to £10 worth if you're willing to wait. But really, I just thought I'd bundle them all up, and I got £81 for those. So I was very, very happy with that. And this was part of a day that actually brought me in just over £500 for my day's takings, which was really, really good. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to do another sales video with the non-Warhammer stuff for people that aren't too interested in the Warhammer. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed the sales. It might give you some inspiration if you ever see Warhammer stuff maybe. So yeah, cheers. Thanks for watching.